In today's video, we will be testing osmosis, which is the diffusion of water across a cell membrane. We will be testing how a cell responds if it is hypertonic or if it is hypotonic. But first, we must understand the three different types of osmosis. Animal cells are fragile, and they can't handle water capacity being too high or too low. When a cell is hypertonic, the amount of water in the cell is higher than the amount of solute. This causes diffusion to cause the water to move from a high concentrated area to a low concentrated area, demonstrating diffusion. This will essentially dehydrate the cell and damage it. When a cell is hypotonic, there is less solute in the cell and more water. This causes more water to move into the cell because it is less concentrated. If there is too much water moving into the cell could burst. Lastly, and what is preferred for an animal cell to thrive, is an isotonic cell. If a cell is isotonic, it has equal amounts of water and an equal amount of solute in the cell. This is what all animal cells need to maintain homeostasis. For this experiment, you will need distilled white vinegar that is used for cooking, a string or something to measure the circumference of an egg, 1 egg, corn syrup, could be light or dark, a ruler, and a cup. First things first, we must measure the circumference of our egg. So grab your egg, some string, and wrap the string around the egg. This is the first measurement in our experiment. I marked the string and then I cut it out. Then I measured the string that we cut out with a ruler in centimeters. I got a good 14.5. Now we could finally start experimenting. So I grabbed my cup and my egg, and I filled up the cup just enough to submerge the egg completely in vinegar. Now I covered the top of the cup in plastic wrap, but it was optional. It makes no difference. Pick a place in your house that's room temperature and let it sit, because now it's time to wait. We wait for a good 48 hours. This was the egg only after a few hours, and as you can see, some reactions are already starting. Alright, after about 2 days, this is what we were left with. The entire shell of the egg was completely dissolved by the vinegar. This exposed the whole membrane of the egg. From what I can infer, the egg got bigger. To find out if this is true, we must measure it. So I took my string and I wrapped it around the egg one more time. And this time I found out that it did grow, and it grew 1.5 centimeters, giving us a whopping 16 centimeters. This indicates that the vinegar is a hypotonic solution. There is more water in the vinegar than there was in the cell, making the water to move into the cell, causing it to grow bigger. It was time to do one more experiment on the egg. So I took any container I had and I plopped the egg right inside. Now it was time to fill the container completely with corn syrup. In this solution, the egg could float, and I tried to push it down, but all that did was make my fingers really sticky. It's time to give the egg some time to react, so I let it sit in room temperature for another 48 hours. After 48 hours, I come back, and this is what I'm left with. Yeah, it's not the prettiest looking egg. The egg deflated like a balloon. This tells us that the corn syrup is a hypotonic solution, and that the water inside the cell moved into the corn syrup because it had a lower concentration of water, explaining hypotonic solutions. Thanks for tagging along, and I hope you learned a little bit about osmosis. Until next time.